Welcome, Tale Tellers. It's a Monday, the beginning of an awesome week. For me, it's just ending, and for some of you, it's just starting. But wherever you are, I hope you're having a great Monday. Speaking of great things, are my fans. Time for fan shoutouts. Troy Shaw, mate. Thank you as always for your support and keen ears. Thanks, buddy. Arkin brother, thank you for your great stories and support. Many thanks to you, mate. Wee woo, great name as always. Cheers, mate, for your constant support, buddy, and your attention to detail whilst listening. I appreciate it. Greg Dedrick, thanks, mate, for the likes. Forsaken X, thanks, mate, for the constant support and your great true stories. Cheers. Wesley Brasher, thank you so much for the likes and follows. You're just great. And I have a couple of podcasts that support this channel that I think you should check out as well. Flush Studios, Good Vibes, I'm feeling it, Robot Pizza, and the Crazy Town Podcast. Now, the Crazy Town Podcast, they're a long-time supporter and have some of the craziest and wackiest news out there on their channel. So if you like crazy and wacky and funny stories, check them out as well. Thank you all for the support, and especially, of course, you listeners. Now, today I'm finishing off Michi's journey, and I'll conclude with some of the narrator's comments as well. So if any of you haven't heard of Michi's journey, it was one of the earlier episodes I've done that was by Kyle Brant. I'll include part 1 in the description of this episode so it makes it easier to find. And that way you won't be left wondering what on earth this story is about. Okay, Tale Tellers, I hope you like part 2 of Michi's journey. I jumped away from the figure as it approached me. How long was that thing in there? Is this a hallucination? What the hell do I do? I asked myself in rapid succession, looking for a way to defend myself. Then it dawned on me, and I quickly imitated what I just saw Michi do. I started making horizontal slashes with my finger and saying the mantra Rin, Pyo, To, Sha, Kai, Jin, Retsu, Zai, Zen. As I hit the last syllable, I raised my voice trying to command it. The beast was unharmed, unlike what I hoped for. The entity grew closer till it was face to face with me. You are especially delicious. It cooed into my ear, a mixture of a feminine voice and a demonic low voice. I can just eat you up, it said as it opened its mouth, still coming closer. My heart was racing. My breathing was sped up. The creature's breath, hot on my neck, had me frozen in fear. I could now feel the tips of her teeth on my skin, and just as she was about to bite down, she vanished with a chuckle and a whisper in my ear. I'll be seeing you again soon. If you're reading this story right now, please don't look towards that blue light. If you do, you only have one way to save your life. Tell a scary story. It's the only way to keep the Ayo Andon away. Now for some unique author notes, and I really find them interesting. This is something that you probably wouldn't normally get a lot of exposure to, a lot of insight to. So I thought I'd dedicate this bit of time to giving you a bit of that insight and sharing the notes that Kyle Brant would have been using whilst designing that story. Some notes. This is kind of a side project for my novel, and will be my medium for telling yokai stories. The main character Michi is actually the brother of my main character in the novel. Michi's journey will be much more of a spiritual one compared to his brother's physical journey. The second person is the medium of which will experience Michi's journey, as well as having encounters of his own. Some notes about the spells. Kek, K-E-K, shorthand for Kekai, a spiritual barrier produced by monks, can take multiple forms. Rin, Pyo, To, Sha, Kai, Jin, Retsu, Zai, Zen, Kuji, Kiri, or Kujikiri, cutting the 9 syllables. The related practice of making 9 cuts, 5 horizontal and 4 vertical, alternating, in the air or palm of a hand with a finger or on paper with a brush. Kiri is explained in Shugendo texts, quite correctly, as a preparatory ritual of protection. to cut off demonic influences and their inki, which translates to vital substance. Ayo Andon. During these gatherings, 100 candles would be lit and placed inside of blue paper lanterns, called Andon, in order to create an eerie atmosphere suitable for storytelling. Throughout the night, guests would take turns telling progressively scary stories about yokai, demons, ghosts, and other strange things. After each story, one candle would be snuffed out, until finally only the 100th candle remained, its dim blue light casting long, creepy shadows, struggling to fill the dark room. According to superstition, as the final candle was snuffed, a real ghost would appear out of the darkness to attack the participants, created out of the heightened emotional state and fears of the guests. This ghost was called the Ayo Andon. The Ayo Andon is the incarnation of mass human terror, formed out of the built-up fears of large groups of people. This fear takes the appearance of a demonic woman with long, black hair, blue skin, blackened teeth, sharp claws, and horns. It wears a white or blue kimono and glows with an eerie blue light. About the Sarugami. The Sarugami look just like the wild monkeys that are found across Japanese islands. However, they are bigger, more vicious, and much, much smarter. They can speak, and sometimes they are seen wearing human clothes as well. They are thought to be the remnants of an ancient monkey worshipping cult. All that is left of this religion today are wicked monkey spirits who have degenerated into yokai. When Sarugami interact with humans, it almost always ends in violence. Most legends follow a similar pattern. A Sarugami kidnaps a young woman from a villager, and heroes are called upon to go into the wilderness and exterminate the Sarugami. Like Oni, giant snakes, and other monsters, Sarugami are beasts meant to be slain by brave samurai. According to folklorist Yanagita Kunio, Sarugami are a prime example of fallen gods, spirits once revered as gods but who have since been forgotten. These beliefs never entirely vanish though, and such spirits often remain as degenerate versions of their former selves. For example, yokai. Now, this is where the author's notes end, but Kyle Brant has spurred me to want to look into yokais even further. Firstly, thank you again for your fantastic story, Kyle, and thank you to Sin, who has put some research into my hands regarding the yokai so I can do some really cool future episodes on them. And of course, I know this is a shorter episode, so I decided, look, I'll give you a little gift. And I'll do another story, and this time it'll be a short, scary story. I wanted to leave it as a bit of a surprise for you guys and gals. Okay, let's get to it. I Wear My Sunglasses at Night by Tjacks7. If I can see your eyes, you can see mine. That was a familiar phrase my parents used when I was trying to avoid being caught by pretending that I was oblivious to their existence. When I was younger, I instinctively placed my hand over my eyes in the hope that it would render me invisible. In time, I escalated this charade and began wearing sunglasses, even at night, in a futile effort to avoid their punishment. As I grew older, I learned that wearing sunglasses would not prevent my parents from seeing me. Nevertheless, I continued wearing sunglasses because it became a habit of mine to wear them at all times. One night, my parents excitedly woke me up and told me that they were going to go outside to view the meteor shower. It was rumored to be extremely close, they said. So I joined them in our backyard, wearing my favorite pair of sunglasses. Within the hour, the dazzling display began, and surprisingly, something appeared to have landed near us. We walked over to investigate and noticed what looked like a pebble. My father leaned over and tapped it with his foot. A tall, shadow figure immediately appeared and looked at my father, staring at his face. My father spun around to run away, but was dismembered before he could complete his first step. My mother gasped as the figure then jumped in front of her, tilted its head to look at her eyes, and removed them from their sockets. I was paralyzed with fear as the figure leapt in front of me and tilted its head while looking at mine. it proceeded to continue to adjust its head and moving it closer to where it was practically touching my face. I felt its steamy breath against my face and heard its saliva rhythmically dripping on the ground. After what seemed like minutes had passed, it turned around and disappeared into the night. I notified the police, and they predictably did not believe my recollection of the events. They concluded that there was little chance I could have done the damage inflicted upon my parents, but I was still ordered to be institutionalized. Not more than a few weeks had passed until I was released. Not that there was ever a decision to release me, as I simply left the facility after all the guards had perished. Within a month after the incident, all of the people in my town had either moved away or suffered a crueler fate. Now, I have found that I have no more rules and no more worries, as long as I wear my sunglasses at night. Thank you so much, Tjacks7, for this story and your approval to narrate it. When I read this the first time, I really loved it because, one, it reminds me of the song from Corey Hart, Sunglasses at Night. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's fantastic, really catchy. And two, for some reason it gives me this strange They Live feel. So for anyone who's seen or heard of the film They Live, it's quite old now. It involves aliens landing on Earth, taking over society, and the only way to spot them is by using these special glasses. That's the premise. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It's a classic. One of the famous lines is, "I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." Such an awesome film. So check it out when you get a chance. So I hope you enjoyed today's episodes. 2 short stories in the one. And stay tuned for tomorrow because there's going to be a great set of stories coming your way. And actually, even though I don't do shoutouts every second day, I want to honor my iTunes reviewers for also taking the time out of their day to leave their reviews. So tomorrow I will be doing shoutouts just for them. If you want your name shouted out, well, just leave a little review and I'll be sure to include you. Thank you so much, you fantastic listeners. And on that note, Telltellers, it's that time. This is the place where stories live, and you Telltellers come to listen. Enjoy your day or night, and join me every weekday for our creepy tradition. And as always, till next time.